Very well, welcome to this Sunday's game. I am Alan Moore, the PRO for Gaelic Games Europe, and I'm delighted to talk small ball in just a moment. Of course, that is my original sport. Even though I first played Gaelic football and then hurling, but hurling was the one that got me into the GA and in love with the game as well. I am delighted to welcome on. He looks like my twin, but if you're talking about twins, it's like Danny DeVito, Aaron Schwarzenegger one, and I am definitely Danny DeVito, and he's definitely Aaron Schwarzenegger.
Oh, Jesus.
Tracy, our hurling officer from GGE, how are you doing?
Flying it, Alan. Thanks very much.
Super. Listen, first question. Um, the hurling team coming in, it's in the open category.
Yeah.
What are the expectations for the team right now?
Trying to go there to win. So that's the expectation. We've got some really nice players on the team, and we're in Division 1, so we're in the top division. But yeah, you just don't know what the class is now after COVID and where teams are at. So we have no view on what the other teams are like. But the only thing I do know is that we've got pretty good standard in Europe. So yeah, just go for it and see what happens. So
That's
yeah,
an important thing. Again, I've obviously been monitoring all the hurling across Europe, so there's good players in. I've seen the lineup; it's strong. So it's fingers crossed. Um, how important are the World Games for the development of Gaelic games, for example, in Europe, just in Europe alone?
I think it's essential. Like the international sections for the World Games in particular, we've got a massive amount of teams going from international sections that are actually local players coming from their clubs, like that were born, live there, and going to play in the World Games. It's essential. I think it's like the core of the European structure is that we develop local born players to go play in Europe in the World Games. Like we've been working for years to bring that up. Now, a lot of the players in the clubs are Irish born, but we're trying to just continually bring up the local talent in hurling in all four codes to come in. So that's where I think the roots of Gaelic games in Europe is going to continue on and to build. So
In terms of hurling, I know the standard of hurling in Europe is quite good. Um, what's the uptake like with local born players, shall we say, or international players?
I'd say out of all the teams is about a third. Like there's a two-third, one-third split of local born and then Irish born players. That's the way the split is right now. But basically, it's like we're trying to grow in all areas. It's not just in one particular area. It's like we're trying to go international and local, but at the same time bring up and for people that are moving from Ireland, let's say, or moving from a youth section to come up like that, they can raise the standard in Europe as well as raise the standard. So it's kind of a dual development. That's the kind of thing because we have the 15s and we also have the nines. So we have two different types of games being played in Europe. One is a very fast kind of a sprinting, fast-played game within the nines, and the 15s is kind of a slower one to develop because it's more like the same as Ireland basically. But it just takes it's all about the numbers and all about the amount of players we have in clubs to develop both styles. So yeah.
What do you prefer playing, Des? Because I never really like playing sevens hurling, for example, but I love playing 15. So for you as a player, what do you prefer?
For me personally, I was always brought up on the 15s, but I see that nines is a faster, sprintier kind of sport. And look, I'm not getting any younger. For lads that are like 10 years younger than me, they're like they're able to keep up the nines and keep up to that high sprinted level, and that is very exciting for, let's say, that skill level, that sporty, sprinting level. Nines is actually a very attractive game to play, but 15s is like a longer thing. It's like more like what we play in Ireland back home. It's sprinty, but it's more endurance as well. Where the nine sides on faster matches, that takes a lot to go play that, and that's what we're going to be doing at the World Games. Is like that's a kind of a unique thing that international units get to play. Is that like this sprintier, faster games and a lot more action, and you see it in the Gaelic football as well. Like I've seen in other interviews with lads, they're like saying they're very like, well, this is a whole other thing that we're playing in Europe, and it's the same with hurling. It's like it's a faster game, and the Irish lads when they see, you say, watching the World Games, will say like, oh yeah, this is a bit different than the 15s that we normally play. Like it's a bit more dum. So yeah.
Well, again, that's a great selling point of the game as well. Finally, before we let you go. In your opinion, what is the biggest thing that people should take away from the World Games? Because a lot of like players and people will be watching it. So, what should they take away from it? The most important, like feeling or emotion or points.
It's like our core thing in the GGE is like where we belong. It's like we belong in our clubs. We belong in each individual section. Like I play up. I used to play up in. Well, I still play up in Copenhagen and with the Viking Gaels as well. And it's like I belong to that club. And now, in the future, you never know what jobs are going to come down for different people, for different things. You belong to the club you're at, and belong where you are. Like, so that's, you have a feeling of belonging no matter where you are. If you're in Moscow, if you're in Copenhagen, if you're in Maastricht or you're in Amsterdam, that's your home, that's your club. You have club pride no matter where you are. And it's the same as like, some of the lads that when I did my youth section in Dicksboro in Kilkenny, there's a couple of those guys that are actually went over to Australia and I'm going to be playing against them. It's kind of like, it's your pride, but at the same time, that's it. We're Benelux, we're Europe now. That's it.
Exactly. That's it. No. Now we're fully Europe. So
yeah. So it's getting real.
It is, and it's just like lay in the timber. Thank you so much, and the very best of luck to yourself and the lads over in Derry
you
next
too.
week. And thank you for your time. Thanks, Des.
See you.